Buenos dias, buenos tardes, buenos noches. And that's it for the Spanish. It's good to see everybody today. As always, if you're going through any mental health issue, please dial 988, which is the mental health equivalent to 911. It saves lives. You're more important than this. So if you're thinking of doing something you shouldn't, turn this off and dial 988. There are people, I don't have any more who I wish did that. But this is Democratic Bootcamp, Day 2. I know, I don't come off intimidating. I get it. But I have to pretend to have some fun, right? I want to first emphasize when you make a decision to engage in a conversation, what your goal is. Because, especially on social media, you see F Trump. Earlier it was F Biden, now F Harris, and F this. And that's not the conversations I'm trying to teach you how to have. I don't need to teach anyone how to tell anyone else to go F themselves. We're all pretty good at that. What I'm trying to do is teach you how to invite somebody apprehensive to your side into a persuasive discussion where they leave almost feeling that they convinced themselves that Harris Waltz was the best option. So there's no winning or losing here for you. A win would actually be you get no credit, Harris Waltz gets a vote they wouldn't have. Think not what your country can do for you. Think what you can do for your country. And Donald Trump is a danger to our way of life. So you're actually, anytime you talk to somebody about the Harris Waltz campaign, you're acting patriotically. And thank you for your service. So, I just wanted to say that I'm trying to show you how to have a discussion, not an argument. You can call it a debate, that's fine. How to have a persuasive conversation. Now, I gave you some hints yesterday. I'll just, repeat them quickly of just when to know to walk away. Because sometimes these Trump people can be a wolf in sheep's clothing. So that's why if you bring up January 6th earlier and you start hearing conspiracy theories, even in the voice of the nicest, purest, grandmotherly little old lady, I think that might have been Antifa behind that. Okay. Thank you. Have a good day. Never be rude. And excuse yourself. You will not convince that person. They know more than they're letting on to. That's a problem I actually have with debate, because I am a very flawed debater. I'm just some guy who hits some buttons on YouTube and has 90 somewhat people subscribe to him. I'm nothing special. But I'm trying to teach you with this very specific topic when people will expose more than they want to. So if they make any reference to a conspiracy theory, they're more educated than they want you to think they are about the presidential election. You're done, walk away. If you sense any racism, sexism, it's not your job in the next 72, I was off by 10 yesterday, but 72 days to fix systematic racism that has existed since the beginning of time. It's not your job to fix that in the next 65 days. Okay? Your job is to turn a maybe or no vote into a yes vote for Harris Waltz. it. Period. End of story. The second you get into a fight or an argument or something where your emotions are aroused, you lose. Like how in cards, they define counting cards and playing cards differently, although it's the same game. It's with what mindset you have. Because you can easily turn a I'm not voting into a Trump vote if you're unlikable. So you should always be likable. Respect the person. Don't talk down on their opinions. And sometimes it's difficult. I've talked to the Hillary Clinton eats baby people and been able to keep my cool. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm asking you that if you get to one of those people, don't be rude. It's just in general in life, don't be rude, but just walk away. Not someone to engage with. I've engaged with them, and I was stupid for doing so. The goal is clear. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about the future of this country, which really only exists if Kamala Harris becomes the 47th president of the United States. You know how some people say, I don't even know if we'll have an election in 2028 if Trump wins. I used to be one of those people who would laugh at people who would say like that. I don't know. You have Trump, no guardrails? Ooh. Which then brings, for the men, women, you would probably be able to learn something here as well, but for the men, what's the one word men hate the most? I'll give you a second. This isn't alive, but anyone? 2, 1, the T word. What's the T word? Tampon. The Republicans were so sure of this when Tim Walz was announced as the vice presidential selection by Kamala Harris. They gave him a nickname to mock him. They called him Tampon Tim. The Republican folks did. You know why they did? Because he ensured there would be sanitary napkins for the women in the school he was principal of. He made sure the women had the hygiene products necessary. Stuff guys, including me, don't like to talk about, like to run away from. But let me tell you, I went to college once upon a time, and Lily, if you're listening, stop. Sorry, that's my sister. Cole, cover your ears. I got laid more than I probably should have. Okay, now, why did that happen, and what does that have to do with any of this? Because people like to help people who help. So, it was like something between a man purse and it could fit around my stomach at that point. One of those shawl. I forget what it was called, but guess what I always had on me when I would go out at night? You guessed it, tampons. Why? Because I knew that if a woman was in a situation where she needed a product, my chance of seeing her naked later that night exponentially increased if I could help her out. It could help her out even. My chances get even better if she sees I'm helping her out selflessly. I have no use for it. No one shot me in the ear. See? Did it work? over the course of Boston University, 4 years. I'm not going to say it worked every time, but it hit its statistical need, which is, I believe, between 1% and 2%. That could be the difference in this election. If anything, it spurred some conversation, if I didn't get some. So, what now? What to talk about? Well, the feminism issue. Men need to start being an ally with that. I was about to say men need to start owning that, but no, we don't own it. We're an ally with it. Like occasionally I'll wear an LGBTQ bracelet. I'm straight, but I'm an ally. And I want people to know that if they're the type of person who makes LGBTQ jokes, no bueno around me. So I'm supporting a community that I'm not a part of. You think Donald Trump has ever done that? In any situation? Supported a community he wasn't a part of or that wouldn't benefit him directly? That's what President Obama emphasized so much during his speech. Is we're dealing with a billionaire narcissist who cannot mentally comprehend why something that's not good or just doesn't directly affect him might be good for somebody else. And to that extent, I feel bad for Donald Trump. Because caring about others is an amazing feeling. Now, granted, my little tampon trick in college was, I wasn't looking for a girlfriend at the time. We'll just leave it at that. And then, so you've moved the conversation to Donald Trump. And make the person laugh, too. Nothing's better than laughter. Because in the middle of laughter, you can sneak in, aren't you tired of this guy already? And just sort of regurgitate the Obama speech for like 30 seconds. The guy came off his golden toilet and like mock it. Like it's mockable. I'm sorry. If you spend extra money on a toilet made out of pure gold, you have just invited yourself to me making fun of you. Sorry, you made a decision. I think your decision is absolutely insane and funny at how insane it is, and I will make fun of it if you ever purchase a golden toilet. So that's natural for me. I was making fun of the golden toilet before he came down the escalator. The guy gets off his damn golden toilet, can't even walk down the stairs, has to come down the escalator to call minorities rapists. And we want to send him back? Like, we tried. We gave you a shot. You messed it up. You don't get two. This is the only time I would suggest bringing Trump's personality into it. Only if you can make them laugh. And just conclude that part with a, aren't you tired? Like, honestly, I don't know if I have another 4 years. This is what I would say. Of course, I know I could. I don't know if I have another 4 years in me of just researching and the tweeting and the yelling and the whining and the bitching and the screaming and the this. And it's just, seriously, I'll take Mitt Romney at this point. Boring is the most attractive thing a president could be to me right now after this. bore me to tears, I beg you. Just don't make me fearful you're going to get into a nuclear war because you just called your lover Kim Jong-un a short fatty over Twitter. Because there's nobody in the race other than him who would have me have that fear. Okay. What's a major issue? What's like going to be one of the major issues, which we have to talk about, but it's not hard to defend. That's the thing. When the truth is on your side, lying almost just, like it's a pointless exercise. And here, every single fact ends with W Democrat. Okay, so there's going to be someone who's going to talk about the crisis at the border. Now, if this is someone you can BS with, be like, oh, someone you lost your job to an undocumented. I do not call people illegal. A person is not illegal. They may perform illegal acts, but it's just not a word I put towards people. So, I heard, and then they'll look at you, they'll be like, no, I'm a union carpenter. Oh, I'm sorry. So, did an undocumented hurt a member of your family? No, actually. And just show them how this is an issue that is not affecting them personally, but don't downplay it. Don't make them think they're not worthy of being concerned, because it's an issue they've been told in their ears through the Fox News, Newsmax people that, they're coming for us. Remember the midterm in 2018, where they showed like a scary looking caravan and they would list like the miles away they were. And then after Election Day, you just never saw it again. And no one asked any questions. I guess they broke down. It's an issue. And it has to be dealt with. But it has to be looked at through its proper lens. Because, watch this. I don't know why they're giving them crap. For all of 2020, 0 immigrants, illegal immigrants. See, I changed the word. Imagine Biden saying, all of 2020, 0 undocumented people came across the border and stayed. 0. And he stopped talking and kept going on. What I just said was legally accurate. Now keep in mind, 20 days in 2020, Trump was president. I just glossed over that. And COVID was going on and the border was closed because of COVID. But I left all that information out to make myself look like some, anti-immigration person. Except when somebody tells you a fact that might make the other side look decent. Because ultimately you're going to win. So don't be afraid to say, my side might have messed up on that one. Or, I think your side has the advantage over us just a little on that issue. However, so you always have to follow it up, but don't be afraid to give a little. Because anyone who follows any politician blindly doesn't have the ability to think on their own. And we're trying, and along with trying to get Harris Walz in the White House and maintain our democracy, I'd really like to have the next generation understand government better. I don't want to ever have a president like Donald Trump again who thinks that putting more tariffs on foreign goods is going to lower the prices. Sorry. It just boggles my mind. But then explain what happened with the border, but go back earlier. Be like, you're not going to believe this. I didn't believe it. Do a little acting job. Who do you think's deported the most? Obama, Trump, or Biden? The person will probably say Trump because that's their dog in the fight. This is their campaign issue. And I'd be like, and this is the only, I guess, sort of a little white line, maybe. Be like, yeah, I assumed Trump too, but it was actually Obama. Wow. Have an experience with this person you're talking to, even if it's manufactured. I will never ask you to lie, make up a statistic, or say something you don't believe. But persuasive discussion is all about persuading somebody with the accurate facts. Okay? So that's what's important. With the accurate facts. Now, then you talk about the details. It's like, well, yeah, when Trump left office, the border was closed because of COVID. So there were no asylum seekers. There was nobody coming in. So it's an unfair argument to make that Trump should take credit for all these numbers. Trump did the racist thing he wanted to do and had a valid reason for it. You know, like we weren't taking anyone from Venezuela, Cuba, China. Okay? We also stopped accepting any migrants who spoke Spanish. Trump unilaterally made English a requirement to enter the country. That is not allowable. You can't do that through executive order, although he did. No one challenged him on it until Biden became president and just said, hey, you can't do this. But here's where you take it and win. So you say, yeah, after COVID, we didn't have a plan. We weren't able to enact President Obama's pandemic relief plan because Trump had destroyed it. So Biden had to start from scratch here. And yeah, some things he did just didn't work. Like he tried to make sure all the backlog of the immigration cases were all done almost immediately. He tried to rush that through. So you got more and more come on in. Which I'd like to say, while I say come on in, the Democrats are for open borders is just journalistic and intellectual dishonesty by the Republicans. I have not met one person who is for open borders. They're for revisions to the current process. Now, most people don't know the details of the Trump immigration and the Biden immigration plans. But Biden's was basically throw a lot of judges there. A lot of judges. He couldn't keep up with it, and it became like a pandemic ward. While Trump was separating families and putting kids in cages. Both not good. One worse. Now, I know sorry I'm moving around so much. I hurt my leg earlier. I know someone's going to say, yeah, but Kamala Harris was the border czar. We don't have czars in America. And if we do, it must be, please tell me, because I'm interested. Tsar is a Russian term. And aren't Russia the bad guy right now? And I am half Russian as well. Well, if you go back enough generations, I didn't. But and then hit the emotional part. What members of Trump's team, so I have to word it correctly, and I deem Governor Abbott and Governor DeSantis part of the Trump orbit. They took Honduran refugees who had made it into the U.S., put them on airplanes under false pretenses, told them there were jobs waiting for them that did not exist in Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts, and flew them there and just left them. Now, put that in the perspective of those were real people who had already gone through the process of coming into the U.S., who were used as pawns by Trump's orbit. That's why I really don't like calling people illegal. Because, hey, these individuals wouldn't have even met that definition because they had made it through that process. And they were flown to Martha's Vineyard. But look what happened that day. America can be so beautiful. Guess who showed up and fed them and clothed them and housed them? Was it Abbott in Texas or DeSantis in Florida? No. And then they'll say, oh, let me guess. It was the governor of Massachusetts. Surprised. Be like, no. Well, who? The people of Martha's Vineyard. Because that's what America is. Remember the big trays of food they were bringing them? Holding signs, no one is illegal? That's the America that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz want. Yes, is there a problem at the border? Of course. But how we deal with it defines who we are. And feeding them, clothing them, housing them within limits, especially once they're here legally, that's the American way. That's the America I want to live in. Not the Donald Trump comes off the gold toilet down the escalator one. Which no one ever points out. He says they're not sending their best. They're sending killers. They're sending rapists. They're not sending anybody. They, I assume he meant the Mexican government, is not in coordination with these individuals to dump them in the U.S. Like, just when you break that apart, it's an asinine statement. And then Trump wants to deport every person who came to this country illegally. Breaking the law is bad, but think about the racial profiling that's going to put us into. Every person with darker skin than me will be getting pulled over all the time because they might be here illegally. That's not an America I want to live in. I don't think it's one you want to live in either. So, that's day 2 of Democratic Bootcamp. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to be discussing how to have a mature conversation about the situation in Gaza. Have a wonderful evening.